Hey everyone, it's Sam from the Noon Podcast. Thank you for joining me in today's interview where I have the opportunity to talk with Ricky, a multi-decade paramedic who got to experience the good old days of firefighting and EMS. He's also dedicated to getting more paramedics into the film industry and a busy entrepreneur. Through his stories, he shares a perspective that is rarely seen. I hope you enjoy the show. Ricky, thank you so much for coming out to the 911 Nonsense Podcast. I would love for you to give me an introduction of who you are and what you do.
Well, so I feel very honored. It took a little bit of a mission to get here, just logistically because of my scheduling. But my official name is Richard A. Grego, but I go by Ricky G. That's how people know me in the EMS community. I've been a paramedic for almost going on 30 years. And I've been in EMS since, maybe in the States since 91. But I was a medic in the military. And I worked all over the state as far as EMS and worked in the ER. I was also a flight medic for many years. I was in the fire department since 91 to 2006. And that's where I got my paramedic license in 95. And then since then, I worked numerous EMS systems. I've been fortunate enough to work at a lot of places. I was telling a friend of mine when we were looking at your podcast, and we were talking, she was like, what are you going to talk about? I said, I don't know, But I told her I've been fortunate to be a fly on the wall in a lot of places, and I've been able to be in opportunities and see things and meet people that I would have never fathomed. And then so I tell people, hey, stories, and they're like, yeah, right. And I said, no, let me make a phone call, because there's been people that have been right there with me, right?
You have the proof,
that can
right?
verify. And I'm not lying, I swear, I promise. But anyway, so I've done that. I've worked in the EMS for many years, and I've been blessed. What I try to tell people, even to be at this point in life, and I didn't even think I'd be alive this long. So God's blessed me with this gift to help and heal people. And I'm a fixer. I'm a healer. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I probably credit that a lot to my grandmother, because I saw her, growing up, how she reached out in Old Town in the community. And so I grew up in Old Town and went to San Felipe, and we were in church all the time. But I saw my grandmother take in homeless people, like no shit, bring them into the house. And I remember the smells, and she'd feed them and nurture them and take care of them and put them back. And you know what I mean?
Yeah, so, being very catering and caring,
like from the bottom of her heart. And then whenever one of her friends would pass, and she'd get on the phone and cry. And so I don't know, maybe I got it from her. I
that's
that
cool.
to her, because it comes naturally. So I don't know, that maybe, because a lot of people say because we're Sagittariuses too, maybe. I don't know what sign you are. But my friend Maria was saying, yeah, we're Sagittarius, and that's what we do. So anyways, I don't know.
What have you been
I ramble
doing?
A lot, so
it's okay.
Just reel me in.
What have you been doing more recently?
After when I had injured my leg, and then I stopped flying just because it hurt for a while to be in those small planes. And then my buddies from the fire department were into the movies, and because I'm a paramedic, there's only a handful of people in the union, so the ATSI 480 union. So I'm doing films now, right? I'm a SAM medic, but they needed paramedics to subsidize their trucks to make them ALS through motion picture set medics. So they'd call me, hey, do you want to come in, work on these trucks in the movies? And I really accredit that to my son Jojo, because he's the one that brought me in. Hey, my dad's a paramedic, so me and him used to work as a team on the truck, so that was really cool. And that's how I got into the movies, because I really didn't know about it, but then I knew it wasn't, at that point it was really up and down, so there was no sustainability in it. And then so I'd work shifts, remember?
Yeah, I think it was one of those kind of hush-hush jobs, right? Because it was kind of a cush job if you were a set medic and you had that job. You didn't really want to tell people you did it because it was hard to get into.
Yeah. There was, it was real cliquish. And then, so I've really tried to break that barrier from it being, we're just going to have a selective few people come in. And so now that I'm fortunate now that I'm a key medics on shows and stuff. I mean, I don't care if anybody wants to get in the union. I've got tons of people in the union. I got them in, and if they want to be medics and I can help them and they can thrive in the business, because it fluctuates so much. So
and it's blown up here in Albuquerque specifically, where a lot of filming is happening right now in the state.
Right. So we've been very fortunate. But going back, so me and my son got me in it, and we were doing that, and then Netflix likes to have paramedics on their productions.
Like as a standby, or to fill in to help with like.
Well, so on motion picture set medics, I was being that paramedic role, and my son was being it's kind of like doing the ambulance out in the, in order to have that ACLS. So that's what was fortunate for me, because I always kept my paramedic license, so I could fill in. So there was a necessity, supply and demand, right? So once I got on there, and I was like, okay, and then I was doing a little bit more and more, and plus the money's great, right? And we get paid weekly, and kind of a spin-off, because I was kind of thinking about what I was going to say, right? EMS, there's not a lot of money in it. Mm-hmm. So you do it for passion, or you do it because you want to do it, or there's an inner drive in people to do it because they always say, oh, I want to be a paramedic. Hey, that's cool, but you're not going to get rich on it,
Yeah, be a nurse instead.
Right.
That kind
right.
That kind of a comment.
Yeah, so I always advise people, go to nursing school. But now, I mean, you can make money. Finally, after how many years? Almost 20 years, 30 years, and even then still, they're giving bonuses. But anyway, so I go back, I start doing the movies, and then my friend Dominic was running Saul. And then he says, hey, man, I need you on these shows. And because they wanted paramedics, and then I could fill in on the rigs. And then, so, he says, hey, man. And I felt bad about leaving everybody, because I'm a loyal person. So I'm when I start a job, I believe in loyalty. And now maybe it was just instilled in me. But, everybody's succeeding. I'm over here being loyal. I'm still here. But he said, hey, do you either want to shit or get off the pot, man? Do you want to make some money? You want to come into this industry? And then that's how I had to make that decision, and that was probably one of the best decisions I made. So sure enough, I got in there, and then I'm fortunate enough to navigate through the industry, and now I'm running shows.
Oh, that's awesome.
So and the benefit to that isn't really for me in itself, for the prestige and whatever to that, but I'm able to employ a lot of people. So that barrier where there was that select group of people that they would very click on holding that industry tight, I can open it up to whoever now. And hey, get in. You got your MT license. Let's get you in the union. So if you want to become an IATSE member and work in the film industry, it's a labor union. You just got to go to the website, 480, local 480, IATSE, and then find a craft. And you could do like food services, there's costume, whatever. But in some crafts, you have to be licensed, right? And then you got to accumulate your 30 days, and then 800 get you in the union, and then you can work any craft after that. So the way I got in was with my paramedic license and through people that I knew, right? And through my son, Joe, he really encouraged me to do it. And then, so I try to reciprocate that back to whoever. I don't even care if they get into, doing labor on paint crews or whatever. The industry's awesome. The money's good, and it's a good retirement, supplemental retirement for me.
Sure. So, no, I'm glad that you gave us that information on how to get into it, because not a lot of people understand. To try and redirect the conversation.
Let's go back.
What are your thoughts on PTSD in the field?
I have mixed feelings on that. I'm pretty sure I have it too, but I don't really express it much. I kind of maybe hold it in, you know, and until we start getting deep in thought, and then we like even in this, and I might throw a little tear here and there. A lot of people don't see me cry, but there's that macho end of it, they say, hey, we don't cry, but a lot of that has to do with the military side of me. But there is PTSD, and I think the older that I get, the more I see it, and now that people use the word trigger, it's kind of funny because I maybe repressed it. I don't know. I don't have that. I probably do have it.
And you might have symptoms and not even recognize that you have it. So one of my symptoms for PTSD, or one of my triggers for PTSD, is that I will take a noise canceling headphone and I will only put one in because I have to be able to hear what's going on around me.
Yeah.
I can't be in a position where I can't hear. Like when I'm in the airplane, that's the only time I'll wear two headphones, and it's just because of the sound.
Yeah, the sound, yeah.
But literally anywhere else I go, whether I'm wearing noise canceling or regular headphones, I only have one ear in.
Right.
And I didn't even realize that was a sign of PTSD until one of my friends was like, you have this and you don't even know you have this.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Because you have to have that, and it's not control. You have to have that sense of,
but it is a form
awareness,
of control
maybe,
too. Like
yeah.
I need to be able to control what's going on around me without actually controlling it.
Right.
Sure.
You have to be ready. And so I was a 911 dispatcher for the fire department too. So we always say we have that third ear. And as paramedics, we don't multitask, we megatask, right? Yeah. So that might be one of the things that you need, that because you have to have. We use our sense of smell, sense of taste, our vision. That's how we triage even before we're triaging from the get-go of the call, right?
Sure.
And then you walk in the building, then you're smelling, then you're seeing, and then you've already kind of know what you're,
So let me ask you, when you walk into a store, the mall, have you figured out where your exits are?
Yeah.
Okay, so you do have signs. You
I know,
just
right?
maybe don't you recognize them?
And it's funny because people, like when we go places, I think people like to sit and oh yeah, I want to look good in front of people. And I always have to rearrange the table, and they're, why? You just want to be like you're at the center of it. No. I have to sit with my back to the wall. I got to know where the exits are, and I got to know what time it is. I analyze all this stuff.
Yeah.
And that comes from military, from the fire department, and EMS, and then people get upset too, because like, what, how come you just can't park anywhere? Why do you drive around the parking lot like 4 times? Well, I'm looking for the egress. I got to back in.
Yep.
Right?
Fastest way out,
Yeah,
right?
and then everybody gets mad at me. How come you just can't do this, can't do that? I said, you got to give me a second to just let me be me.
Yeah, let me do what I got to do.
So I guess, we do have that, and that's what I was trying to say, is that as the older that I get, the more I realize, hey, maybe I, like you were saying with that one ear thing, I do have it, and I just maybe coming to terms with it at this point.
So what do you do to help yourself if you start feeling anxious, or like maybe that's a little overbearing? A lot of people in our industry like to drink. I've seen a movement more recently, maybe not necessarily for employed people, but people who are retired, kind of going into a cannabis.
The cannabis, yeah.
I've seen ketamine. There's a lot of even mushrooms being used
to
help
medicinally.
medicate.
I got to tell you a little story about that, but
share it, buddy. That's why we're here.
Well, get this. So ever since when I was in the military and going into doing whatever I needed to do, you got to get a mindset. So I think when you're younger, your body just reacts, your mind, you're just automatic. And as I found that I'm older, I have to tell my body, come on, let's go. I can do it mentally. My body's not as physical as it used to be, but I can get it done. It's just mind over matter, and that's what I try to tell people. So, and there's that age thing. It's kind of funny because I was talking to one of the kids on set the other day. These guys run circles around the electrical guys. Boom, I said, damn, I wish I was 30 again or 25. Because they call me on the radio, medic, and we need a Band-Aid to background. It takes me a while to even motivate myself, get up and go and load my pack on and go. I'm going to do it. It's just more of a... But what I used to do, going back, I used to play the song Mission Impossible in my brain, and I still do. And I don't know.
That's great, dude.
Yeah, no,
that's great.
No, so when I was in the Army, I used to dun dun, and that's how I
just gets you going.
It just gets me going, and that kept me focused, and it was weird.
I'm just imagining you running around on scene, hiding behind things and dodging people.
And I still do it now, right? So come on, Rick, we gotta go. And then I play that in my brain, and then I get up, and then I go, and I've done that since way back, but that goes back to my military days. So when I joined the military, I was 17. So I left. We graduated in May, and I was gone by August. So now when people, my youngest son, Dad, this and that. Come on, dude. At age 17, I was doing shit that you know, I don't want to hear no excuses. Come on, you know.
Sure.
You know, suck it up. Let's go. You know, get this done. I need this done. You know, and so that's what back in the day, I always played Mission Impossible, and I still do it now to motivate my old ass to get up and get things going.
Going back to your 911 days.
Yeah.
What would you say is one of your fondest memories? Like, what is a call that you think about that just brings a smile to your face every time?
I was fortunate enough to deliver 2 babies. You know, I was a catcher. You know what I mean? And I always kind of, I don't brag about it because I don't like to brag about what I've done. But that was neat. You know, that was neat to bring. We see so much death and so much life going out, and sometimes we help it. And I don't know, maybe sometimes I might have, you know, did it by accident.
Yeah.
Sorry, you left this world a little bit, you know, because it's a learning process when you're learning paramedicine. But it was cool because the way it happened. So both calls, and I was a catcher, and boom, I did it. It was automatic. Remember everything we trained for, everything. So I was a helper on a couple of births, but this one, it was me. I was the primary. There was no, and so the first one, you know, we get call of a birth. We go to the apartment, knock on and the door barely opens. Well, the door could barely open because the people had first moved there, and their place was just so cluttered. Anyway, she was all, I've been calling you. You guys delivered my last one. You delivered my last one. And I'm looking at her like, I don't even know you.
Yeah.
Like, you delivered my last one. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And she goes, it's coming now. And she squats. I literally had about this much of a doorway, right? She squats, opens her leg, and I deliver this baby in the doorway in the hall of the front. And the baby comes out. I didn't have time to put gloves on, nothing. And I'm just drenched in all the afterbirth in my legs and my boots and everything, and this baby comes out, and you know, I deliver this baby, and like, whoa, you know. And so then we finally get the door open. She goes to the bed, you know, and we deliver the afterbirth and all that. But so, thank you guys, you delivered my last one. I'm thinking like, I've never delivered a baby, but what she meant was in Los Angeles, EMS delivered her last baby, right? So that was cool. That was cool because I mean, I literally delivered a baby right in the doorway.
Yeah, and it's hard for people to understand that because I don't think a lot of people get to experience that, right?
Just all over and slippery little.
You were actually one of the first people who has said that you enjoyed doing it. Most people were like, "Whoa, babies! No, I don't want anything to do with that. That's, you know, no." But you enjoyed that experience.
Yeah,
and it's good that you had those two experiences.
Can you imagine not only the miracle of a baby coming out alive, and you know, because we got to do the steps and clear the airway. Well, we cut the cord. Actually, we put her on the bed. We finally got it, and then we laid her down, cut the cord, and then just delivered the placenta. But I mean, it was here, like, boom, hey, here's a baby. Hello, I'm coming.
You didn't have time to think about it. You just did it.
And it was automatic, and then it was just so cool. It was just so cool that and thank God that it was a good natural birth, and we didn't have a healthy baby, no complications, and she hadn't had no prenatal care because of her financial situation, and you know, the baby came out healthy, everything was great, but you know, here I am just soaked in this. I flew in my boots. It's in my socks. It's in my boots, and I'm like, but who cares? You know?
Yeah,
like,
at that point, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it didn't matter. Like, I was like, whoa, this is cool, because you know, we train and we train and we train. A lot of us are fortunate, but I would say misfortunate to be put in these positions at going to these gruesome calls and all this other stuff. And I think the younger you are in your career, you know, I want to see blood, you know, guts, and I did this, I did that. But as the older you get, you're like, we don't want to go to those calls because there's misfortune in those bad calls. You know, bad things happen. It not only affects the individual involved, but the family, and then it, you know, the EMS people too. You know, it has that residual PTSD, and I've been involved in those calls too. But
so, are there any specifically that you think of when you talk about that, like bad calls and being there for those, you know, specific moments in time?
You know, there's one that always kind of sticks in my brain. So let me tell you about this other childbirth real quick, okay? So I was able to do that one. Okay, so now I'm working at the ER. It's in the morning, And I'm coming in the morning after shift, and I'm like, shit, man, these guys didn't stock everything. And I'm noticing, hey, kind of ironic, an L&D kit's not there. And I'm like, and one of the guys said, well, why would you want an L&D kit here fully stocked? They said, I'm going to make it into a field kit. So the L&D kits in the hospital are made for the hospital setting. They're not complete like we would do out in the field, right? We need everything. So I opened one up and made one. Why would you do that? I said, because you never know, right? And it was funny because that morning I hear this female come in with this young girl, and then she's triaging her, and she's coming in for abdominal pain. And because you hear, remember, like we were saying, all these senses are going on.
Yeah.
And okay, well, she's coming through me. I'm going to have to triage her. This is when we started the lean program, right? The lean process. And then, so before the girl came to me, because I was, and I remember the nurse saying, here's a urine cup, have her go to the bathroom and give us a urine sample. So, all right, and I'm stocking everything. And then all of a sudden we hear screaming and yelling. So I run out there. And in the lobby, there's the 2 restrooms, but the door's open, and she's screaming. She's having pain. Well, I run in there. Hey, what's going on? Mind you, we're at a hospital, okay? And the tech that was with me asking me these questions kind of came behind me because they were going to be the tech with me that day. And then she says, "It's coming out. And I'm thinking, like, what's coming out? Well, it was one of those cases of the young girl. Baggy shirt, baggy,
just baggy clothes.
Yeah,
all
baggy.
over.
But what's that called?
Like a
hoodie. And the mom's all, "What the hell is going on?" And she goes, "It's coming out." I said, "Oh shit, she's delivering a baby." So I delivered this baby in the toilet, in the bathroom of the ER, right downtown, and with all these doctors and everybody's standing around looking at me. None of them came in to help, and me and this tech. The one that was questioning me, I told him, go get that OB kit. He knew exactly what was that. It was kind of ironic. And we delivered this baby and it come right out of the toilet, a little boy, So that was my second.
You had that like intuition.
Yeah,
that told
and it was
this needs to be ready today.
Yeah, right. I don't know why, but it was just kind of stuff like that. But so the mom's she's all, the little girl, how could this have happened? What's going on? And she goes, goddamn well what happened. I'm going to kill him. And they're arguing. The girl sitting on the toilet, the mom's yelling, and I'm trying to do this is how this baby came in the world. Yeah. Between the 2 moms and all this, and so anyways, we delivered the baby, and anyways, those were cool calls.
So you were going to start talking about a call that you felt was very hard.
Maybe it was hard because I can't, it always stick in my mind.
Sure.
So it was just the way it played out, but so we're eating, getting ready, because I worked at Station 3. A lot of these come out of Central, so I worked a lot on Central Corridor. But so we get this call. We're getting ready, some green chili enchiladas, and finally we're slow because I worked on Rescue 3. We're able to sit down, eat some food, and benefit the from our working hard to make as a group enchiladas, and we go to sit down. Then boom, we get this call of a gunshot victim. So we go to this apartment, and it was really, really fresh because it was a young girl. I'll never forget her face, a blonde girl. But she's sitting in between. Well, she's crouched down in between the bed and the wall, and there's an APD officer over her, and he's trying to clear the gun. Well, what she did was she shot herself right in the head. But it was so fresh because we were right there. It was literally blocks away. The smoke still coming out of her ears and her nose and everything where she shot herself in the head. Well, he's trying to clear the weapon. He's standing on the bed, and then he clears the weapon, and then we pull her out. And then so we pull her out, and the guy's on the pumper. So we're trained to know when and when not to work people, right?
Sure.
But anyway, so she had signs of brain matter coming out of her ear and stuff like that but she had that guppy breathing where she's
like breathing. Agonal respirations. Right,
yeah. So to us, we know what's happening. To the basics and everybody, they don't know what's happening. So they're worker, and we're trying to be like, no, why? To me, I'm like, let her go in peace. Let her go in peace. For whatever reason she shot herself. I'm not going to destroy her body by working her, because it was going to be futile anyways, right? So the thing about it is these guys are getting angry because they want us to work her.
And that's really interesting because that is within your own company.
Yes, yeah.
So you have half of your company getting upset, even though with your experience and your knowledge, you know, like this is end of life.
Right. And they're mad and they're a worker and they're yelling at us. And it was me and I won't mention his name, but my partner. But and we're looking at each other, and so we're like torn. Do we try to satisfy them or just keep the peace for this poor girl to leave in peace? And so we chose to, of course, leave her because it was futile anyways. But, these guys were really angry at us. They were upset. They were mad. They were like cussing at us on scene. It was a very, just walking into that scene, like I described
it was
with
a volatile scene.
Yeah. And then, no, so we, so anyway, she passes and everything. And then they're mad and they leave mad. And, they're kind of cussing. How come he didn't do, and one of them's yelling at me, and just this whole intense thing, right? And we're in the bedroom. Well, come to find out, when we walked in, she's in there in the corner. The cop's doing that, and there's these two guys. One of them has a guitar, and he's kind of just playing the guitar.
And he's in the apartment, or he's outside?
Yes.
Of the
Okay.
apartment?
So she's in the back bedroom. Here's the friend. You know how these tiny little apartments are?
Yeah.
And she's over here, and there's these two guys. And when we first walk in, and they go, "Oh, they're back there," right? But PD was on scene, so we figured it was safe because we already saw the car.
Sure.
And then so I'm like, all this stuff's going on, and we're like what the fuck, and all I want to do is eat my enchiladas. And so, anyways, so come to find out, she had been prostituting herself to make ends meet. So the one guy with the guitar was her husband, and so that he could they could survive. This was a friend. It was a Sunday afternoon. They might have been drinking some wine, doing their little thing, kumbaya, and that was it. Well, she had walked in and told the husband, "Hey, you know what? I've been selling my body so that we can, make rent and all that, and I guess things didn't go well. She didn't get what she wanted,
the response
right?
that she wanted.
Yeah, and then she said, "I'm gonna go kill myself," and he said, "Okay, go ahead," and she literally went in there and killed herself.
Wow.
And then, but to him to be nonchalant, just that setting. But the thing is, can you imagine? What kind of gets to me on that one is that why? I mean,
yeah.
It snuffed out her life out of all that, and nobody cared, and we couldn't save her.
Yeah.
There was no saving her. There was not even attempt. We just couldn't. Yeah. So that's one of the biggest ones that, out of all of them, because we've seen blood and guts and all this other stuff, hoorah. But the story, the backstory of that whole thing, and then he's in there.
Just hanging out, playing the guitar, like nothing's happening.
And then, but it affected. So if you look at that, it affects my partner, the other crew. There was a little bit of animosity until we explained it to them, until we found out why and everything. And it took about probably the rest of the shift for them to finally start talking to us again. So,
yeah, it's hard when those people are like the people that you work closer with.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that partner dynamic and that team dynamic. So it makes it hard when you're not getting along some days. And some days, you spend more time with your partner than you spend with your family a lot of the time. And people also don't understand that dynamic when they're like,
tired of
that
you too.
person is my work husband or my work wife or whatever. And when you don't get along, that can make the job hard.
Yeah.
And it can make for long days.
And then sometimes you have tensions with your partners too, because they might be having some issues, or you're on the phone a lot arguing with your spouse or your significant other, your kids or whatever, and they're tired because they don't want to hear it, but you work in this close-knit cab, and then you got to go from all these dynamics of, okay, got a call, it's time to do this, okay, now we're this, now we're that, are you hungry? Oh, I want to eat, I don't know, oh, I don't want to eat that today, I'm tired of eating that. But you want to eat that, and there's this.
I will tell you, I have a lot easier of a time figuring out food with my work partner than I do my wife.
Yeah.
That is no joke.
Yeah. But, right? And all that stuff. But it's just, And then we had with that same group of firemen, we had a good save. We had a little girl was running around. She put her hand through a plate glass, severed an artery, The mom's freaking out. We get the call. And of course, we can't do a breaking and entering. We had to wait for PD, but we're looking. And so we finally go in and I look and I see blood everywhere. I'm like, oh, it looks like a murder scene. Okay, so now we have a legitimate reason to kick in the door and do that. PD finally arrives and we're looking and it's this long house. Go all the way back. We find this little girl in the tub. And her mom has her wrapped up and she's pale. She must have been about 2 years old. Very pale. Clinging on to life. And you know what a simple save on her was? Because she had lost a lot of volume, right? But she wasn't oxygenating her whatever residual blood that she had. Just basic BVM and an IV. We got her there, right? And we saved her. She was like right there, but not even just basic stuff. And that time cohesively, everybody worked. I had my guys, I could, they already knew what I was thinking. I'd tell them I needed this.
Yeah, no, that's a good name.
So, all these dynamics of everything that goes on up and down Central and in Albuquerque. But
can you tell me about a time where you did something embarrassing in front of your partner, in front of your crew, on a call? People don't like to talk bad about themselves. So let me tell you. So when I was a brand new EMT,
if you talk about it, I'll pull these files out of my brain.
When I was a brand new EMT, we stopped to get gas in between a mission. Mm-hmm. And I got down and I put the nozzle in the truck, and my partner had gone in to get something else, and he was a grumpy old man, so we didn't talk very much throughout the whole shift. So as he was coming back out from getting whatever he needed to get, I decided to go in while the pump was still in the truck. The nozzle was still in the truck. So when I came out, as I was walking out, we got a call. So I was like, okay, well, he put it away. He saw me go in. He saw that it was still in. It still had to finish. So when I came out, I just jumped in the truck and closed the door right away. Yep, took off with the nozzle. Luckily, it had the quick release, so it didn't actually break anything. But then I had to set it next to and go into the gas station and be like, I'm so sorry, guys. And I was brand new EMT, so I'm like, I'm going to go to jail. I'm in trouble. I destroyed property. This is a big deal. I'm in the ambulance. I'm going to lose my job. I'm only 21. And the guy was like, nah, this happens all the time. Just, you're good. Get out of here. And I was like, thank you so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I'm trying to think about, there was a lot of things that we did. That rookie status, you know what I mean? And you're trying to walk the line and do all that. But I'm pretty sure I've done a lot of foolish things, but I can't pull one out of, I've seen a lot of foolish things being done.
I heard the term the other day, the fire department's like a frat, Yeah, and it is true. Coming from a fire department myself,
right?
You're in that first year, and you're just gonna keep getting it.
Yeah,
you're gonna keep getting it. There's no letting
the hazing.
Off. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's gotten a lot different now, though.
It has.
Because it was brutal. I'm talking back when I got in, it was in 91, and all the stuff that was done to me, and then we perpetuated it out over the years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and not a lot of people like to talk about that, but it was how it happened.
Yeah.
In those times, and it was accepted.
Right. Yeah. In fact, we had a rookie class that refused to come and work at our station, and we had to have the chief come in and had to sit down with us and stop harassing them. Nobody wants to come and work over here, but it was fun hazing. It wasn't mean stuff. We were just fun stuff to pass the time. But maybe that's how we broke the monotony. But getting back to the PTSD thing, I never, we drank a lot, but it was because we could. I don't know, maybe because of our schedule, and that was the way we did things. You know what I mean? Hey, we're gonna work hard, and then we justified. Hey, I worked 48 hours and I saved this and I did that, so I can drink and act like an animal for 4 days. So I don't know. Looking back, I probably shouldn't have done that. You know what I mean? And we may have used that as an excuse, but maybe that was part of the coping mechanism of the PTSD, not as an individual, but as a group. Because we used to do it as a station, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like we all hung out after, we'd go to the lake and do stuff like that. So maybe that was our way of because I just thought about that, about how we save people, and we're, that call.
Yeah, the cohesion between your group.
Yeah, maybe that was the way of us kind of decompressing as individuals, but as a group, but maybe for ourselves. I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I think a lot of people in our field do a lot of drinking. Despite all the knowledge about it and despite all the warnings, I think that there is a fair amount of people in EMS, the fire department, in the police department, any kind of frontline workers that won't say that they depend on drinking, but show signs of depending on drinking.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it has to do with maybe that's the norm, and hey, let's go party and do all that, as a group. But you and maybe there's there is a stigma, not maybe, but about coming forth and asking for help.
Sure.
And then, it kind of gets away from you as an individual. Because I've been down that road. I was sober for 7 years, when I had gotten into my trouble with drinking. And a lot of it had to have been because I'm a fireman. I can do this, I can do that. I'm macho. But I had to come to a reality of, and I think the sobriety for 7 years really helped me, even mature wise too. But, do I drink now? And I'm more of a knowledgeable, social kind of a binge drinker. I shouldn't drink because it's not conducive with me.
Mm-hmm.
Because then I think that's when a lot of these hidden things come out.
Sure.
Know. So what I've really been doing medicinally is we were talking about the mushrooms. I've never done them. I've always been afraid because we've always been in jobs where we couldn't do things because of our,
sure.
Getting
it's not
drug
state
tested.
or federally
right.
accepted.
Right. And so when we went to San Francisco about 4 weeks ago, when we first started getting this dispensary going, they have mushrooms over there and it's microdosing. So my cousin had never done it, so I said, "Hey, let's do it."
They just sold it like over the counter.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's in chocolates. It's in chocolate.
Wow.
We call it chocolate
in San Francisco.
Yeah, in California.
Mm.
Yeah, but you can't sell in the same dispensary as marijuana. It's a whole and you take them and I've never done them before, but I had a good time. I mean, I had fun with my cousin.
I hope that you had a
my
good
sister,
time.
And then I started doing edibles out there a little bit, and now I do those to help me sleep. Because before I used to kind of I'll have a shot or a glass of wine
sure.
or whatever, Now I'll do an edible and I sleep good,
Kind of self-medicating.
Yeah, and so there's always been a stigma about smoking marijuana and all that other stuff, and I don't really like the smell and I don't like to smoke it. But as far as doing the edible, I mean it's really to me it helps me, So maybe it is psychological or whatever. But I would encourage anybody to, in the EMS field, to jump on anything right away, fast. Ask for help. And we all see it too, and we all know each other because we work so cohesively together. If you see somebody in trouble, don't just ask, don't just passively. You got to dive deep in, and you may hurt that person's feelings, but what if you can change their life and save them?
Sure.
I know recently there's been a lot of suicides.
Yeah.
In EMS,
and
we've lost a lot of people too. And like you're saying, when you're saying names of people, now I have to see their face to put a face to the name. But I've been kind of disconnected because I work in the movie industry and the hours that we work, and when we're deep into the EMS system in Albuquerque or New Mexico, when somebody passes for whatever reason, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, you hear about it. But I don't really hear about it unless I open up my Facebook.
Yeah, social media is where you're finding it out first, right?
Yeah. And then you're like, and then you think back about all the calls you've been with those people and what a great person they were, and then you're like, wow, that's too bad, wish you could have done something. Or
so if you could start it all over, like if you could go back to 17-year-old you, would you get back into medicine?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think I was blessed with that. I love it. what I should have done is I should have broadened my horizons. I shouldn't have limited myself. And a lot of it had to do with partying and chasing girls and having kids and being in the fire department, you know, kind of. But I wish I would have I wish I could went to nursing. And I was right there to do my bridge to nursing, but then my son was born, my youngest one, and I kind of pushed that to the side. I wish I'd have followed up with that, but I wish I'd have went to medical school. I mean, you know.
No, that makes sense. I think a lot of us, you know, hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah.
So if you could give yourself one piece of advice for when you started, what would you tell your younger self?
I could have gone a lot further in my career in the fire department, just to stay focused. I you know, I was always the party animal, you know, and always the fun guy and all that. And I wish I would have focused more on looking ahead of my years. You know what I mean? And saying, okay, you know, I always had goals. Don't get me wrong, but I should have put forth myself to be. You know, I could have been a chief. I could have been chief of the department. I could have done a lot of things. I had the talent. I had the knowledge. I knew the right people. All that. I just didn't. I wasn't focused enough. You know what I mean? So what I try to do now is encourage people and give them that insight that of what I should have done. You could do this. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to do. Don't be afraid to take chances. Don't be afraid to, you know, anybody can be anything they want.
And I think when you're young, you don't realize
right?
Because I think when we're in our 20s, you know, it's easy to be like, money. I need that money. I
Yeah.
I work all this overtime. And I'm not going to move to promote myself. I'm just going to work as much so that I can make as much money as I can.
And exactly. And you hit the nail on the head. Promotion, because you're trying to work so much that you don't have enough time to really accomplish that goal, because mindset, you're just too tired. I mean, when you work, I mean, you know, I'm going to work in overtime. Well, you get away from that train of thought. And some people do it, and you know, good for them. And I'm thinking like, man, that could have been me, you know, but oh well, you know, maybe God didn't have that path for me. I don't know. And I hindered it myself too, you know, through bad decisions and you know, getting distracted. But I'm okay in life. You know, now God's blessing me with some other things. You know, we own a couple of businesses. We're going to open up a dispensary. I work for the movie industry. I really don't have to work much. You know, mentally I work a lot. Physically I don't have to. So I'm able to, there's longevity in that for me as far as working. You know, I'm meeting new people all the time, and it's fun. I get up in the morning, I drive. I think, and this, getting back to what you were saying about the drinking and the marijuana use, I think I look at a lot of my friends that have passed, and when they retired, what did they do? They stayed home drinking, stayed home smoking. They didn't do, they didn't go, they didn't get up, they didn't, you know, I'm 56 and I get up in the morning, I drive, you know.
Because you have that purpose.
Yes,
yeah.
And if it wasn't that, so maybe I'm blessed with, you know, in the long run of not, because otherwise I'd be at home, you know, depressed or whatever, you know. I mean, we all get depressed, don't get me wrong, and you know that, but it like this is cool for you, because now this is going to give you that second to, hey, come on, we got to get this done. And so that's going to be your drive now. That's going to get you to that next phase in life, to where you're not going to be, oh, I did this, I did that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm lucky. I'm lucky, and if it wasn't for this stuff, who knows where I'd be? I don't know.
Sure. No, that's all awesome. Well, we're wrapping up here.
Yeah.
I want to give you the opportunity to talk about your dispensary a little bit, because I know you're getting ready to open up.
Yeah. So I was fortunate enough, like I said, a friend of mine called me up and asked me to get involved in this dispensary, and that deal kind of didn't pan out the way we thought. But I acquired this location and then signed a lease for 3 years, and I'm $200,000 into it. So I'm like, what am I going to do, right?
Yeah.
So all right, so we got to make this work. So I got my sister involved, and then my mom got involved, because we own Sabroso Foods down in the South Valley, and so it all kind of panned out. And so we're going to open up hopefully in a couple of weeks, or well, maybe a couple of months. It all depends on, we're trying to put everything together. I didn't understand the logistics of it, because my friend was supposed to be doing that. We were just gonna be the money part, and then now we got to do the logistics. But my mom's doing that, so my mom, my sister, they're running with it, right? And we picked out a name today, and it's Purple Days, and it's on Paseo and golf course. So we're gonna open up, and then hopefully all goes well. And like I mentioned before, when we're off. We'll be able to make a difference in people's lives, whether it's medicinally, help them, and then hopefully financially. So,
are you guys doing both medical and recreational?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And if anybody that we can get involved in that business, if you have any product or you want to come in and share your talent, like you said, I don't know. I'm totally green in the business because I have no idea about it, but if the more people that we can get involved and collaborate and make this, really big, and help out and change people's lives, that's my goal. Yeah, the money part's going to be awesome too, but you never know. That's not always guaranteed,
Sure.
But if we can change people's lives and do that nonprofit that I was talking about, helping kids and do all that, then it'll be successful to me. Even if we make $1 a month, I don't care, because I'm still fortunate to have my retirement. I'm working for the movies, and then and do that. It's just, I don't know, because who knows if we'll be alive tomorrow. Honestly, I always say this to people, and they're, don't say that, Rick. I said, I might not be alive tomorrow.
Yeah, you never know.
We never know, because it's not guaranteed. So every day that I wake up now is a blessing, and if I can help somebody or change people's lives, not only through my hands but through my knowledge or financially, business-wise, then that'll be great. And hopefully I wish you luck.
Thank you.
I want to see this thing take off. I want to see us on Spotify, and
it'll be on Spotify.
Yeah, but I'm talking like where you have
Podcast.
$1 million contract, and we're doing this like in like Joe Rogan and taking off, and that'll be awesome. That's the rewards that I want to see out of everybody's life.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming out to the podcast and hanging out and sharing some really good stories, man. They were great.
Well, hopefully I know I talk a lot, but I got plenty more.
Season 2 coming out.
You're right.
Cool.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to the 911 Nonsense podcast. Please remember to comment, review, and share with friends if you enjoyed this episode. If you're interested, we sell all kinds of Noon merch at samspursuit.com. Again, thanks for listening, and see you next week.